Shout out to Kopish.
Shout out to Kopish, guys.
Keep all the good work
the
up.
two legends, Emil Heskey, Howard Gill. Can't get much better than that, guys. Yeah. You know what to do now. Like, comment, subscribe. I'm with legends, guys.
Kopish.
Good afternoon, lovely people. Hope you're well and welcome back to another live match preview. I'm delighted to be joined by Sam from Back of the Net, the AFC Bournemouth podcast. Sam, how are you doing this afternoon, bro?
Very good, mate. Not too bad at all. Not too bad. Bit nervous about the weekend, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Indeed. Guys, make sure you head over to Sam's channel. They're doing great stuff over there, back in the Premier League, so please go and support them. They're on the road to 10,000 subscribers, which Sam jokingly behind the scenes said would be almost the same as their capacity for their stadium. But guys, all you got to do is click the link in the title, click the link in the description, head over there and support Sam and the boys on their channel. Sam, for the first time since I can remember, we're going into a game with each other where Bournemouth are above Liverpool in the league.
What's going on?
Crazy. So at the moment, we both played 3 games. You won your first game of the season against Liverpool legends, Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa. Then you lost 2 very tough games back-to-back to Manchester City and Arsenal Football Club. Again, nothing to be ashamed about there. Liverpool, on the other hand, drew away to Fulham, scraped a draw, drew at home to Palace after going down to 10 men, again, scraped the draw, and were handily beaten by our biggest rivals, Manchester United. Going into this game, is this the most confident you've been playing Liverpool?
What a question to ask. Can you ever be confident about playing Liverpool? It's weird. It's going to be one of 2 things that's going to happen tomorrow. Either we're going to see a reaction or we can maybe carry on with your downfall. But you know what? I think you're probably going to see a reaction. But I suppose you could say that in an ideal world, it would be good to have a bit more momentum other than, you know, getting smashed by Man City and Arsenal. Obviously, we had a Carabao Cup win of the week away at Norwich, but that doesn't really count for anything, to be honest. But yeah, you could say, I'd certainly say there's more hope in our hearts, put it that way.
That's fair enough. I mean, we have a pretty good record against you. If I'm not mistaken, apart from that epic game for yourselves, or you came back and beat us 4-3, we've had a really good record against you. And the last time you were in the Premier League, we were really good against you. I remember us winning, I think it might have been, was it 4-0 away from home?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was.
Is this the weakest Liverpool team, in considering the injuries and suspensions of it, is this the weakest Liverpool team you think you'll be taking on at the weekend?
Yeah, we also got a point at Anfield once. We drew 2-2, but apart from that, you won every single game apart from that 4-3. But yeah, probably, but that's mainly down to injuries. Obviously, if you had a full strength side, then I don't think you'd be where you are now. But it's really interesting. I was debating this on our previous show that's going to be uploaded onto our channel later on today, and we were talking about.
Make sure you check that out.
Yeah, make sure you check it out, because we talk about Liverpool and we're fairly complimentary, actually. We sort of understand the issues that you're having at the moment. But I asked my colleague, you know, what's the bigger gap? Like when we got promoted in 2015, you know, between Cherries and Liverpool, or now? And even though you're having this downturn at the moment, it is now, because whilst we've got players of some Premier League experience, which we never had last time round, your technical quality over the last 2 seasons since we haven't been in the Premier League has just gone up and up and up. And we're going to find it really difficult, even with the players that you've got out. I think one of the things at the moment is we're suffering with a sort of fear factor when we play the larger teams, whereas the first time around in the Premier League, we didn't really have that. Yes, we showed them respect last time, but we had a philosophy and a style where we would have a go. This season, not the case. And whether that's instilled by the manager, probably. He got relegated with Fulham and he's trying to right the wrongs of what he did with them. So, yeah, I think, you know, technically you've got a much better squad than the last time we played you. But I just think it's a little blip on the road for you at the moment.
That's fair enough. So speaking about Bournemouth, currently your manager is Scott Parker, and here's a stat, and I hope this doesn't continue or have any bearing on tomorrow, but he is the last manager to pick up a win at Anfield in the Premier League, and that was a 1-0 win for Fulham at Anfield back in the 2021 season. What have you made of Scott Parker in his time at Bournemouth, and as your squad and coming out of the transfer window, how confident are you about staying in the league, and where do you sort of see your position in the table as the season progresses?
It's funny, when Eddie Howe left, our club was in a sort of relative disarray for a year, where we took on his assistant manager, promoted from within and made him manager. That didn't really work out. And then Jonathan Woodgate stood in, and Scott Parker's been a person that the hierarchy at AFC Bournemouth have been very fond of over the years. And I think had he not got promoted with Fulham when they played Brentford in the playoff final a couple of seasons ago, I think we'd have probably nabbed him then. But as it was, he joined in July, and a lot of Fulham fans warned us about his playing style, and it's very negative. And we've sort of seen that, but then you saw the start of last season in the Championship, whereby we were winning game after game. I think we went 14, 15 games unbeaten. So we couldn't really argue with it. But it wasn't the prettiest to watch, but it was getting results. But then we sort of came undone halfway through the season, and he got a lot of criticism from it as well. It was not an entertaining type of football to watch. It was formulaic. It wasn't very progressive. It was purposeful at times. But then as the season progressed, he got the job done. And then, you know, when he's got that on his CV, how can we really argue against it? And then since then, he sort of won fans over a little bit. We're concerned about this season, though, because we've changed formation to 3 at the back rather than a flat back 4. And whilst we got the result against Aston Villa, there have been little signs, even though it's Manchester City, even though it's Arsenal, that there are certain matches that are going to be complete write-offs this season. Whereas last time round, I felt as though we had a little bit of a chance. But look, we can't gauge our season based on those games. It's got to be the ones against, like Wolverhampton, we're playing in the week. Then we're at Forest, and there are other teams in and around us who we need to get points from. I think he's got a good chance of getting us over the line. But as fans, I've got to say most of them are fairly pessimistic about our chances this season, to be honest.
Yeah, which is a shame, because again, I remember sort of when Eddie Howe had this team, and you almost became everyone's sort of second favorite team at one point because you were playing really good football. Everyone was like, "Oh, who's this player? Who's that player?" Eddie Howe's obviously gone on now to Newcastle. I think his time did come to an end at Bournemouth at the right time, and I think he sort of left before he became almost like a villain. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he's still viewed as a hero by your supporters.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And he did some great stuff with the club. But looking at sort of your activity in the transfer window, and with a few days left, do you think you'll get anyone in? And if you could, who would you look to? What positions would you look to fill?
We've been struggling centre back for quite a while at the moment. We've got a plethora of midfielders. We've got loads, but at the back we're looking fairly light, and we need personnel. Given that we're going 3 at the back, we need to get personnel. So we got Marcus Senesi in for about 15 million euros from Feyenoord. He's had a bit of a slow start with us. He has played already, but he's just getting to grips with the game. But his quality is undeniable. But it just needs to get up to speed in the Premier League. His distribution is absolutely different class, and for us, he could be a great player. Whether he'll be blooded tomorrow, I doubt it. However, I would say possibly up top. I mean, Dom Solanke's not been available for a couple of games now, and we've noticed the difference he makes. He has to work on his own. He runs the channels really well. His hold-up play is really good. Almost plays as a false 9 quite a lot of the time. But Kiefer Moore, his big lanky replacement, he's not as quick. He doesn't have those bursts of energy, but he's very good with his hold-up play. And despite the fact he's so tall, he's not bad with his feet. But I just feel as though we could do with another forward, really. And also, people have talked about our wide midfielders as well. We're just offloading one at the moment to Besiktas by the looks of it, in the way of a Siriki Dembele. It was a signing that we got in the transfer window in January, and already without any Premier League minutes, we're going to be casting him aside. So yeah, mainly in our attacking areas, but we could just maybe do with one more centre back as well, I think.
Funny you mentioned centre backs, because you had one of our centre backs on loan last season. Look, I'm a bit shameless on this channel. I love Nat Phillips, and I know his limitations as a defender, especially in Liverpool system. But without him, I don't think we would have achieved Champions League football in that season where we lost all of our centre backs and our midfield was in disarray and the rest of the team just wasn't hitting the back of the net. He was alone with you guys and obviously was a part of the team that helped you gain promotion. How do you guys view him as a player, and is he someone you'd actually like to see back? Be honest, I'm not going to hold any harsh feelings.
He's all right. Look, one of the best centre backs we've had in our eyes in recent years, and some say in the club's history, is Nathan Ake, who went to Man City. Now, unfortunately, a lot of Bournemouth fans will always compare any new signings with him, saying he's all right, but he's not quite Nathan Ake. And look, Nat Phillips, I think he did a really good job for us. He's a bit of a brute. He's strong. He's physical. He bought into the philosophy. His distribution was pretty good, and his defending at times was excellent. But he did have faults in his game as well. Not least, he was outpaced a few times, and that sort of caused a bit of problems, especially when you're playing teams with very fast forwards. He got found out a little bit, but he's someone that bought into Parker's philosophy quite a lot. And during the whole promotion stint for FC Bournemouth, the club were putting out loads of kind of material like inside the dressing room and stuff, and you could tell he was a much respected part of the team. I think despite the fact he wasn't playing that much first team football for Liverpool, a lot of players looked up to him, and even though he's very young, I think he was highly regarded, and he would have done an excellent job for us in the Premier League, whether we were to sign him. I mean, I know Bournemouth have got a track record of just writing blank checks to Liverpool and paying whatever you say. However, I mean, the loan would have been great, but it soon became clear that he might be needed. And, as he's got minutes already, that's proved to be the case. But I'd have absolutely had him. And, he's not world class, but, he's a good Premier League defender, definitely.
Do you think that you may go back in for him between now and the end of the window? We're not too sure about Matip's availability and Konate's availability at the moment, but we know when those two players come back, his minutes are almost going to be non-existent. Do you think there will be a bid, and do you think Liverpool may be tempted to accept if there is one?
I would like to think that we could put in some kind of bid. I suspect it would be a loan offer rather than, obviously it all depends on Liverpool, but we would absolutely take him on loan, considering we've paid out quite a lot for Marcus Senesi. I can only see it being that. We're spending a lot of money on a new training facility at the moment, about 5 miles away from the stadium. So therefore, I don't think I can imagine that we'll pay certainly the sums that were quoted earlier on when we were linked with him, but I would absolutely love to get him in, for sure. So I wouldn't be surprised if there are a few rumours flying about, but obviously it all depends on your injury situation and when players coming back.
Very true. Another ex-Liverpool player that is on the books, as you mentioned, is Dom Solanke. Firstly, is he going to be available for this game? Do you know?
He's back in a training. So I don't know what kind of injury it was, but he was out for a couple of games, but he's been training yesterday. To be honest, I doubt they'll risk him, because Wolves on Wednesday is a much bigger game for us. So I suspect that he'll probably be on the bench. And look, if we've got a foothold in the game, or we're only 1-0 down after say 70 minutes or whatever, maybe they'll bring him on. Maybe they will. But otherwise, if we're 3-0 down by half time or whatever, there's no point at all. So I think he'll be named, but probably on the bench.
How has he done for Bournemouth? Because when he was at Liverpool, I think he was a player that we signed young, and he never hit the heights that we wanted him to. And look, Liverpool's, it's a pressure cooker, isn't it? And with someone of Solanke coming from, like under 23s football at Chelsea, being thrust right into Premier League and Champions League football is a massive step up. But he seems to have settled well at Bournemouth. It was a high price you guys paid for him, and we kind of were really over the moon of it, because we didn't expect to get that sort of money. But how has he performed for you guys, and is he seen as someone that you could build your team around in the future?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like £6 million Brad Smith, waste of money. £15 million Jordan Ibe, waste of money. £20 million Dom Solanke. At first, we were saying waste of money. But then
Harry Wilson as well.
Exactly. Oh my god! But you know what? He sort of hit the ground running when he was in the Championship with us last season, especially during first season in the Championship after relegation. He was good for us and scored a number of goals, but last season, 30 goals, 29 in the league. He's really improved, and he works really hard for his goals as well. He's not just a goal poacher. He'll come deep. He'll collect the ball. he'll spray it out wide. He'll get in the box. He's got these like bursts of energy. He's good with his head. He's good with his feet and turns defenders. He's strong. Honestly, there's no way that we'd have got promoted without him last season. No way at all. He played every game for us. One of the only players to have done that. And he's actually crucial to our style of play, and that's you could witness that based on how the last 2 matches have been. Whilst we wouldn't have turned over teams like Arsenal or Man City, or even maybe got a result, at least he would have kind of released a bit of pressure by being able to run into the channels if our defenders need to hoof up the pitch or whatever. I love Dom. I absolutely love him, and there's a song that we used to sing, like 20 million down the drain or whatever. Obviously. That's certainly not the case because Dom Solanke scores again. So yeah, it's all good, and he's a player that's crucial to our style of play, definitely.
Yeah, it's weird when you reel off those names such as Brad Smith, Jordan. I thought Jordan I was going to do brilliant for you, but obviously he had his issues off the pitch, unfortunately, which hampered him on the pitch. But obviously we've got to look back on some of these games that we played each other, and we've obviously had more wins than you guys have, but arguably the best game for the neutral and for yourself is probably that 4-3. So going back, what do you remember of that game, and is that probably the biggest and best result in the club's history?
Oh, probably is. I mean, people who are older than me will talk about an FA Cup win against Manchester United in the 80s where Ron Atkinson was manager, winning 2-0. But for me, easily. I mean, no one expected us to get a result. It was on a Sunday lunchtime. I remember Liverpool taking a 2-0 lead fairly early on. And tell you what, one of the players for you and for Man City that always scored against us was Raheem Sterling. And but it was one of the goals of the game was actually a Divock Origi in the first
Kopish.
And the angle, how on earth? It was like a 2-degree angle or something. It was really good. He rounded after Boric and then put it in from an angle. And look, at half time, we're going in 2-0 down, and we've had so many matches like that before where, as fans, we almost think the game is done. Yeah. But then, we bring it back to 2-1. Emre Can scores a brilliant goal to make it 3-1. And then, little Ryan Fraser comes on and absolutely tears it up. At that stage, it was a very untried player for us. He just runs and runs and runs, very quick, very direct. And in a heartbeat, it was 3-0, and then Nathan Ake pops up in the last minute to win it. So, easily one of the best games for me as a Bournemouth fan, and absolute memories for me.
So now I've got to go to the other end of the spectrum. What was the worst? I pulled you in there, and I got.
Cheers, mate.
What was the worst defeat you've endured to Liverpool, in your opinion?
That 4-0 that you alluded to at home, I mean, it just felt like a whitewashing. I can't really remember how the scoring went, but I think you might have been 2 or 3-0 up by half time.
Yeah, is that the one Salah got a hat trick, right?
Yeah, Salah got a hat trick, and then scoring a fourth in the second half, and you were just all over us. We couldn't get a foothold in the game. We had a habit during that time under Eddie Howe of usually playing 4 at the back, but then we go 3 at the back. But because of the way you play, we're basically 5 at the back. We had nothing up top at all, and we were just outplayed. We showed you too much respect. The possession stats for us were awful. We just weren't good, and that was a sort of time of our season as well where we weren't particularly great. So when the first goal went in, there was only one team going to score next, and at 2-0 it was going to be 3-0, and at 3 it was going to be 4. So that was not a good day.
Fair enough, guys. Before we do predictions and starting 11 predictions as well, please make sure you smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, but also make sure you head over to Sam's channel as well with the boys. Make sure you go and subscribe over there. Show them the support that they deserve and have earned. They're on the road to 10K. So, guys, please, let's try and get them there as soon as possible. So, Sam, I'm going to speak a little bit about Liverpool because the elephant in the room with Liverpool at the moment is centre midfield. We're struggling. We are struggling. We've been outplayed in all 3 of our games, arguably. In fact, no, I tell a lie. Fulham were outplayed, Man United were outplayed. I think for large portions of the Palace game, we outplayed them, but they hit us on the counter-attack and scored a really good goal through Zaha. But that midfield is a concern. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Lewis Cook is back. He was on the bench and came off the bench against Arsenal. And straight away when he came on, you guys looked better as a team.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got Lerma there as well. Do you think centre midfield is a position that you could exploit when it comes to this game?
I think so. I mean, looking at how it's probably going to be, it looks like you're going to possibly have Henderson, maybe Fabinho, Harvey Elliott, perhaps. I don't think he'll go with Milner again. And yeah, maybe it is. The only one, down point for me is that I think with Marcus Senesi, our centre-back, being a little bit, unready, I think that Jefferson Lerma, our midfielder, will probably come back into centre of defence that he's done for a couple of games this season. And to be fair, he's looked our best defender at times, which means it's probably going to be a midfield of Lewis Cook and maybe Philip Billing, who's so lanky, so tall, but won't win a header. Won't win a header. But yeah, I mean, I see it as a chance to get a foothold, especially with Lewis Cook in there. I think like now's the time. If you can't be confident, if you can't have a go, when can we? When Liverpool are on this kind of run that they're on at the moment, we've got to go for it. And looking at their midfield and the players that you've got out at the moment, I think we've not got to be confident, but we've just got to take the ball by the horns and at least have a go.
Completely agree. So, who would be your starting 11?
So for us, it'll be Mark Travers in goal for us, a centre back three pairing of Jefferson Lerma, probably in the middle. To his right, it'll be Welsh international Chris Mepham. To his left, Lloyd Kelly. And then your wing backs on the left-hand side, young Jordan Zamora. On the right-hand side, Adam Smith. Lots of Premier League experience for him. And then in front of that, like really good, actually. Yeah. And then in front of them, a double pivot of Lewis Cook and Philip Billing. And ahead of them, sort of drifting in and out from the flanks, we'll have on the right probably Ryan Christie, Scottish international, did well in the week, got some minutes against Norwich. He's looked a little bit shaky so far, but that was more minutes in the tank. So hopefully he can play. And then also Marcus Tavernier as well, our new signing from Middlesbrough, coming in from the left-hand side. And then up front, Solanke or Moore, probably going to be Kiefer Moore, I think. Solanke probably going to be named on the bench. So I'd say that's probably going to be our 11.
Fair enough. All right. I'm going to try and predict a starting 11 for Liverpool, even though Klopp always throws in a spanner. Alisson will start in goal. Yeah. Trent will start at right back. Left back, I do actually think we might see Tsimikas at left back.
Okay.
I'm hoping we do anyway, because I think Robbo's out of form and he could do with a bit of a rest, in my opinion. Centre back is going to be Gomez and Virgil.
Yep.
Centre midfield is where it gets tricky. I think Fabinho will come back in. I think Henderson will play. And I think Naby Keita will play if he's available. If he's not hesitant, we don't know the extent of his injury. All right, I'm going to take Naby out then. I swear it gets really tricky. I think we'll go Fabinho, Henderson, and Carvalho in midfield then. Because Harvey Elliott seems to prefer playing on the right-hand side of midfield, but that's Hendo's best position.
Right.
Well, Hendo's position that he plays if he's not in the six. And I don't think Harvey will play on the left. So I think we may go Carvalho. And then the front three, I think, will be Diaz, Salah, and Firmino.
I've never heard of Salah. Explain, who's this guy? Is he any good?
Yeah, he's decent. He's got an okay left foot. He's got a bit of an afro. He scores a few goals now and again. Decent pace. He's like your arch nemesis, isn't he? He always seems to do well against you.
Always.
I'm hoping he does the same. So
it's going to be a learning curve for Jordan Zamora, because he came fresh out of our academy not so long ago, and he's done really well for us. But this is going to be a different ball game for him. I mean, look, he's been up against the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. Well, actually, he didn't even play that game. So yeah, this is going to be a baptism of fire for him at Anfield. It's going to be really interesting to see how he copes.
Well, Lloyd Kelly as well. Lloyd Kelly's a player that we were heavily linked to before he went to you. So be interesting to see how he gets on as well. So I've got to push you for a score prediction, bro.
Do I have to? I think Liverpool are they're probably they're going to win. I suspect, you know, what would be ideal? Like, what I don't want us to do, which sounds a bit of a weird thing, I don't want us to score first, because then we'll sit back, just like we did the last time pre-COVID. We did that. We scored first, and then we did have an injury, which kind of upset things a little bit. But then we sit back, and when we do that, I mean, although at the moment Liverpool have got a problem sort of breaking down the low block side, so maybe that could work in our favour. I don't know, but look, I think Bournemouth are probably going to be on the end of a 2-0 defeat.
Funny enough, I actually have a 2-0 as well.
Yeah.
I think we're badly out of form at the moment, but I do think we'll have enough to win this game. But I don't think it'll be pretty. I think we may score maybe towards the end of the first half and then maybe mid second half. But I don't think it's going to be a rout. I don't think we're going to just destroy you. Obviously, I like no offense to you, but I hope we do win by a handsome margin just to get a bit of form and a bit of morale boosting. But I don't see it. I think it'll be a 2-0, but I don't think it'll be a walk in the park at all.
Yeah, I think I may have said the score the wrong way around, but I definitely meant a Liverpool win. Yeah, Liverpool will win. If it's a 2-0 to Bournemouth, you know what, you won't see me for another year. But yeah, I think it could be like that. Like you say, I mean, anything could happen, really. They could blow us away, they could sneak it, or we could get something. But I think, you know, most Liverpool fans would just be happy with a win, however it comes at the moment, and then momentum and confidence will build from that. So yeah, I'm going for the same scoreline as you.
Precisely. Well, guys, let us know in the comment section what you think the score will be, and let us know who you think should be starting for Liverpool. Sam, before we let you go, please tell the people where they can support you, and if you've got anything coming out in the near future where we can get behind and support with that as well.
Cool. Our channel's called Back of the Net. We do that because every time that Bournemouth get a corner, we shout Boscombe, which is where our club's name originally, and then we sing Boscombe, Back of the Net, and it's a chant that's one of about 5 that we've got at the moment, because all of them had to change after Eddie Howe, but that's fine. We're primarily a podcast, but sort of a few years ago we sort of morphed onto YouTube, which sort of seems to have taken over. So like I say, yeah, we're on the road to 10k, more subscribers than seats soon, which will be massive. And what we do is we cover all games with a preview, a match day vlog, so we'll be going up on Saturday. Also, what we have is an away day experience review as well. So we'll check out the pre-match experience, what it's like, what the stadium's like, the facilities, the food, the concourse, the people, and then we put you on a tier list and compare it against other clubs throughout the season. Man City, our only away game so far this season in the league, they scored sort of halfway down. It was all right. Their atmosphere was actually pretty good, which I was really surprised about. So yeah, we'll be rating you and comparing you and other clubs throughout the season as well. So that's one to look out for.
No, I love that idea. That is brilliant, actually. Hopefully the atmosphere is good at Anfield, but I think it's on the players to make it a good atmosphere as well. So hopefully they can do that. But no, Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. And again, thank you for doing this. We hit you up quite late yesterday in asking you. So I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this. And yeah, hopefully we'll do this more. Hopefully you'll stay in the Premier League and we can do this more often as well. So, but people, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back later for our live call-in show, so make sure you join us then. As always, guys, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Till we see you next time. Stay safe, stay blessed. We are Kopish and we are out. Take care.